New Orleans, 1918. A city already exhausted by war, already grieving, already afraid. Then something else arrived, something that made the war feel distant. It came at night, through the back door, while everyone was sleeping, and it used your own axe. On the morning of May 23, 1918, Andrew Maggio stumbled home from a night of celebrating his acceptance into the Navy, drunk and happy. He heard strange groans coming from the apartment next door. His brother Joseph lived there. Joseph Maggio, an Italian grocer. Andrew pushed open the door. Joseph and his wife Catherine were lying in their bed. Their throats had been cut. Their heads had been beaten with an axe. Catherine's throat was cut so deeply that her head was nearly severed from her shoulders. The axe was found in the backyard. It belonged to Joseph. The back door panel had been chiseled out from the outside. Clean, deliberate, practiced. Whoever did this had done it before. The attacks continued through the summer of 1918. Always the same method. A panel chiseled from the back door. Entry through the hole. Victims attacked while sleeping. Always with their own axe. Nothing stolen. No witnesses, no description. Only one survivor described what she saw. A dark-skinned, heavy-set man wearing a dark suit and a slouched hat. That was all anyone ever saw. The city of New Orleans descended into a state of pure terror. People called police, reporting axes in their backyards, shadows outside their windows, sounds on their rooftops. 12 attacks in total. 6 people dead. A 2-year-old child was killed in her mother's arms. A pregnant woman was attacked in her bed and survived. She gave birth days later. The newspapers reported every detail, every wound, every door panel, every bloody axe. And the city read every word and locked every door and lay awake in the dark, listening. Then on March 13, 1919, the Times-Picayune newspaper received a letter. The header read, "Hell." It was addressed to "Esteemed Mortal," and it was signed, "The Axeman." The letter said this: "They have never caught me, and they never will. They have never seen me, for I am invisible. I am not a human being, but a spirit and a fell demon from the hottest hell. I am what you Orleanians and your foolish police call the Axeman. I could kill thousands more if I wanted to. I visit every night. But I am merciful." And then came the part that stopped the city cold. Now, to be exact, at 15 minutes past midnight on next Tuesday night, I am going to pass over New Orleans. In my infinite mercy, I am going to make a little proposition to you people. I am very fond of jazz music, and I swear by all the devils in the nether regions that every person shall be spared, in whose home a jazz band is in full swing at the time I have mentioned. One thing is certain. Some of your people who do not jazz it out on that specific Tuesday night will get the axe." The letter was published. New Orleans read it, and New Orleans made a decision. Every dance hall in the city filled to capacity. Every band played through the night. Every home that had a gramophone put a record on. Every window was thrown open so the music could be heard from the street. A local composer named Joseph de Villa wrote a song specifically for that night. He called it "The Mysterious Axeman's Jazz. Don't Scare Me, Papa." It became a hit. At 15 minutes past midnight on Tuesday, March 19th, 1919, the city of New Orleans was the loudest it had ever been. Jazz poured from every window, every door, every street corner, and nobody died. Not one person. The Axeman kept his word, but the attacks did not stop. Through the summer of 1919, he returned. More grocers, more chiseled panels, more axes left in backyards. And then on October 27th, 1919, he attacked for the last time. Mike Pepitone, an Italian grocer, attacked in his bed, struck over the head 18 times. His wife Esther heard him scream and ran to the room. She saw two figures fleeing. Mike Pepitone died 2 hours later, and then the Axeman disappeared. No more letters, no more attacks, no explanation. As suddenly as he had arrived, he was gone. There but one suspect, a man named Joseph Mumfrey. His prison dates appeared to coincide exactly with the gaps in the Axeman attacks, suggesting that whenever Mumfrey was in prison, the attacks stopped, and whenever he was released, they started again. In December 1920, Esther Pepitone, the widow of the last victim, shot Joseph Mumfrey dead on a street in Los Angeles. She told police she recognized him as the man who had killed her husband. She served 3 years in prison, and that should have been the end of the story. But here is the problem. Recent research has found no evidence that a man named Joseph Mumfrey ever existed. No prison records, no court records, no death certificate, no photograph, no proof of any kind. The only source for the entire Mumfrey story is a single newspaper article from 1920, which may have been fabricated, which means the only suspect ever named in this case may never have existed at all. The Axeman of New Orleans was never identified. The case was never solved. Nobody knows who chiseled those door panels. Nobody knows whose hand held that axe. Nobody knows why he stopped. Nobody knows if he was one person or many. Nobody knows if he is buried somewhere in New Orleans, or if he walked away and lived a long, quiet, ordinary life. What we know is this. On one night in March 1919, a serial killer wrote a letter from hell and gave an entire city one way to survive. And the city played jazz, and nobody died, and he was never found. And somewhere in the history of New Orleans, between the music and the darkness, and the chiseled door panels, and the axes left in backyards, he is still there, invisible, as he always said he was.